But the other story I tell to show you how the power of helping people works. I have a lawyer who used to work for me, real good guy, older than me. He worked for, had his own practice. He worked for an insurance company. He worked for a claim service and came to work for me. And he would be doing things for clients, and he kept saying, "Man, we're not going to make any money on this case." I said, "Red, don't worry about it. We're going to make money. We help people. Money follows."
Hey, I'm Armando Leduc, producer, film actor, and owner of Leduc Entertainment. I've chosen a life off the beaten path and wanted to find others that are doing the same. Spaghetti on the Wall is a show based on all of the years that I've thrown spaghetti on the wall and nurtured what's stuck. We will share fun stories, ideas, tips, tricks, and more. Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Spaghetti on the Wall. Could be morning, could be afternoon, could be evening for you, depending on when you're listening to this episode. But I'm super excited today. We've got a juggernaut of a persona here in New Orleans. I mean, you are in Trent. Are you from here?
From here, born and raised.
Born and raised. Mr. Chip Forstall, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna give you some of that. I've been following you just because, you know, who doesn't know who Chip Forstall is here in New Orleans?
Hard to miss me.
Yeah, it's hard to miss you, right?
Yeah.
So you started, how long have you been an attorney?
This October would be 43 years.
43 years?
Yep, 43 years.
How did you get involved?
Oh, cute story. I was in 7th grade. They had a debate. I won the debate class for 7th grade. I think I wanted to be a lawyer at that point in time, not truly understanding what a lawyer did.
Right.
I thought I wanted to be a corporate lawyer. And I said, okay, something to do. Went to law school, found out, nope, not the corporate world. I did defense work for about a year, didn't like that. Went to personal injury. I like helping people, and the rest is history.
And so you were working for another firm?
Yes, I came out of law school, worked for a defense firm. They did defense work. They actually represented the insurance companies. I actually didn't mind the work. I just didn't particularly care for the personalities in the firm. I left there within a year, went to work for a small plaintiffs multi-practice firm, Christian Berry and Bruno. Worked for there about a year, really nice guys. And then I got, all within a year, made one more move to a guy by the name of Alan Berger, who and I practiced law for about 16 years together. We did personal injury work. And I really enjoyed the personal injury work for just numerous reasons. You get to help people, you make money, you're your own boss, which is really nice. And
so what made you decide to open up your own firm?
Well, that was another story of stuff. I'm an open book, so it's not a big deal. I was married, got a divorce, but I had custody of the kids. I had a 15, 13, and a 5-year-old, and I had custody. At the time, my partner and I was bringing in the majority of the money. We started to work less hours because I was taking care of the kids. He comes to me and says, "It's time to split the practice." Now, had been going to Al-Anon, which is something that I did because of my ex. You learn to accept things. You accept it is what it is, nothing you can do. So I said, okay. He told me on a Wednesday, we told the staff on Friday, and lo and behold, the whole staff said they wanted to come with me. Because I was the one doing most of the work. I was the one who had the relationship with the staff, so the entire staff and us, we left.
Wow.
The rest was history. Doubled my income in the first year, doubled it again after that, and just kept moving.
Tell me how you did that. How do you double your income?
Well, I got to tell you something. It was interesting because I didn't realize the loyalty of the people that I had been representing. One day, my ex-partner goes in, and there's a lady at the reception area, and who was originally one of his old clients, and she came with me, and she was coming with me. He walked up to her and he said, "Johnny May, why are you going with Chip? I represented you before." She says, "Alan, you walk through the lobby, you don't even talk to me. Chip's been to my house." The point of that is it's all personal relationships. Even though I spend a whole lot of money on advertising, it's all personal relationships. It's relationships with people throughout the years. I mean, the story is, young attorneys come up and say, "How did you do it? How did you do it? Is it just a TV?" And the answer is no. 82% of the people that came to see me last year, 82, either old clients or referral from old clients, even though I'm spending $750,000 or more on advertising.
A month or a year?
A year, not a month. I'm not Morris Bart. No, Buddy spends about 2.7. You know, I know how much everybody spends and stuff, but it's all relationship. When you come to my office, you see me. I am there. I talk to my clients. But the story I tell young attorneys, and I've told the story 100 times and stuff, and people truly don't understand. but I promise you it's the truth, and it works. When I started, I used to represent people in traffic court, and I charged them nothing. I would go down to traffic court, represent them, and this is in Orleans Parish. And what I learned is if you help people, people appreciate it. Now, not everybody, but the 90% of the people do. So I would go down to traffic court, and I built my practice by going down to traffic court, not charging people. The attorney, it was funny because the attorneys down there who were charging people come up to me one day, two of them came up and said, "Man, you got to start charging these people. You're making us look bad." They're making a living. I'm trying to build a business. So as a result, I built a clientele there. I see all my clients. I have to be honest, I didn't take a full week vacation until I was 40 years old. So I worked a whole lot of hours. And that's something else, people come to my office, and young people come to my office and they say, "Man, I want to be you. I want to sit at the office and stuff and be in charge." And I said, "Fellas," I said, "let me explain something to you. The hours used to be 8 to 6. I had office hours on Saturday from 9 to 1. And then I would come in Sunday night from 8 till 10 to prepare for the week." You can't get ahead by not putting in the work. But the other story I tell to show you how the power of helping people works. I have a lawyer who used to work for me, real good guy, older than me. He worked for, had his own practice. He worked for an insurance company. He worked for a claim service and came to work for me. And that he would be doing things for clients, and he kept saying, "Man, we're not going to make any money on this case." I said, "Red, don't worry about it. We're going to make money. We help people. Money follows." And I must have told him that for 3 years and stuff until he finally just understood it. But the story I tell is there was a guy who came to see me, and he worked at the school board. And he says, "Can you help me with a traffic ticket?" I said, "Absolutely, positively, not a problem. What do I owe you?" "You don't owe me anything. Just send me, if anybody in your family," this is my storyline is always, "if your family, your friends, your auntie get in a wreck, send them my way." About a month later, 6 weeks later, he sends me his wife. Not an accident, another ticket. I said, "Not a problem," and stuff. Took care of the ticket for her and stuff. About 6 months later, he sends me a case where these 2 adults and 1 child got burned. $3.25 million. I made $1 million.
Wow.
All because I represented him for free and took care of him. And the hard part for young lawyers or any lawyers today is they always look at everything in the value, in the look of money. How much money am I going to make? What am I going to? I tell them, don't do that. Look and see how you're going to help the person. And when you help the person, if you're really sincere about it and you help them, they will come back and send you business. Everybody at some point in their life as a lawyer is going to have a case where the person comes in, got rear-ended by a Coca-Cola truck, paralyzed from the waist down, and the case is worth $5 million. You're going to pick up that case if you network out there. But that's what it's about. It's about networking and making people feel good about themselves and being concerned and listen. We talk about marketing, and marketing is extremely important. I do it on so many different levels. We have Facebook, and we have online crazy stuff. We have billboards, we have TV. But the best marketing is person to person, getting the relationship.
What did your dad do?
My dad was in the advertising business, actually. My daddy, believe it or not, he was a typographer, which is not somebody does maps, but they said type. In the old days, you used to have to hand set type. And what they would do is they'd set type for advertising people. So if you wanted to print a magazine or something, you had to have type, and they set the type, and that's how they got into business.
So that's why you're heavy into advertising and marketing.
I'm gonna tell you how that works and stuff. And I still remember what happened. I'm knock on wood. I'm one of those people who very rarely get sick. God's been good to me. I never got COVID. The only thing I've ever been operated on was my shoulder because I had a ski accident and it hurt, and that's about it. I was homesick one day, and I looked at the TV, and because I never watched TV during the day because I'm working.
Right.
And most of the time I didn't watch them on TV at night because I was time with the kids. Anyway, I was home. I looked at the TV. This is years ago, before I broke up with my ex-partner. And I'm like, oh my goodness, look at all these people on TV. I'm like, okay, we're going to get lost in the shuffle if we don't start advertising. So I went to him and said, I think we need to start advertising. He goes, no, we're not going to advertise. Within 6 months, we broke up. And within 6 months after that, I put my first TV commercial on TV, put the first commercial on TV. So I've been advertising for probably 25 years. It has changed, though. I mean, it's all changed because when I started, there was no real internet per se. I mean, it was not the advertising, the way things work. There's no Facebook. There's no TikToks. My son now makes TikToks. But you know this.
Yeah.
There was no podcast.
Right.
I mean, it was just all. So I started advertising, and when I started, I wanted to do something different than everybody else. I think it was the commercial from Channel 4, which was the Spirit of Louisiana commercial, and I called that a feel-good commercial.
Right.
You looked at the commercial, and the scenery, the music made you feel good about Louisiana, about just the moment. And I said, you know what? I got clients, and I said, I just need to get them to come back. So one day, a guy walked into my office, and this was when I was with my ex-partner, and he says, I want to see my lawyer. And the receptionist goes, who's your lawyer? Well, I don't remember his name. She goes, what does he look like? He's the short, bald guy. And that was me. So I realized no matter how good of a job you do, people forget.
Yeah.
They don't remember. So what I did was I started, that was the idea behind me starting saying, I need to advertise just for my old clients, to get my old clients back in. And as a result, the business grew, the business got better, and I was able to build the practice, but everything is still geared toward personal relationship. I meet every client that comes in the office. If I don't meet them, they mark it on the file that I haven't met them. So if they ever come back, I get to meet them. I tell people I'm there every day between 9 and 3:30. I only work a half a day on Friday. Sometimes I'll take off on Friday. And if I'm there, come see me, come talk to me. And I spend most of my day talking to my clients now. I don't go to court. I don't go to depositions. I don't do all that. I spend time with the clients, which I love.
How did you develop the idea of just giving first? Was this always something that you were like? Did you think that it was a tactic? Is just part of your moral compass?
Good question, really good question, and I always thought about that. I have 7 brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest boy. I have one older sister, and if you know anything about big families, especially Catholic big families in New Orleans, you take care of each other. Mm-hmm. So I think as a result, I was just a natural caregiver. And I liked helping people, and I think I've always liked helping people. It's almost hesitate. It makes me feel good, and it's become part of my persona. And my wife, who's a wonderful woman, relax a little bit, have a little more fun. I would rather take them to Disney World and watch them have fun than go to Disney World myself.
Right.
And I'm sure that's some kind of character flaw. And I say that because it'd be nice to be able to just. But like I really don't have a hobbies. People say, what is your hobby? I said, my work is now kind of my hobby, and my kids are my hobby. They take a lot of time. I'm raising my grandkids, and they take a lot of time. So I think it was just part of my DNA because I really, I have a whole, put it this way, I've never seen Schindler's List. And the reason I haven't seen Schindler's List is because I couldn't sit there and watch that horror. And I have too much empathy and stuff, and it would just make me cringe and stuff, and I just can't believe people could do that to other people. And I think that's part of the deal. It's just I feel people's problems. I feel like I can put myself in their place. And I'm going to tell you right now, that comes through to clients. A guy was a friend of mine, an attorney, talked bad about his clients, talked down to his clients all the time, and he could never understand why I got 5 times, 10 times the business he got.
Huh.
And that was because you have to treat people right. Treat people like you want to be treated. And that was my whole theory. You have to be able to talk to. My business is very personal. You can be Morris Bart. You can be the guys that they don't really see their clients. And he's got a great business model. He makes more money than me, everything else. And that's his great business model. Not the model I chose, not the model. I have a little OCD problem and stuff, so I want to keep my hands on everything. I look at every file in the office at least once a month. If there's problems, I handle the problem clients. I meet everybody when they come in. I make people feel at home. My deal is that consider me a family attorney. If you need anything else you need, let me know. If you need to have a traffic ticket, you need something notarized. If you need a criminal attorney or something, we may not do it, but I can steer you to the right person who can do it, but just consider me a family attorney. And that's what happens. I'm on 3rd generations now. I got clients who come in who've been representing for 35 years for coffee. They come in and have a cup of coffee. They come in and aggravate me about something and stuff. It's just kind of just the way it is. But it's good because they sent their kids, and now their kids are sending their kids.
But that's a New Orleans thing.
Yes.
I'm a transplant. I've been here since 2005, but my wife, she's from here.
Oh, then you screwed.
Yeah, so I'm here, and I've noticed that's it's very much big, small town,
Yes,
right? Like it's
yes.
all about the relationships. It's all about that,
It has helped us and has held us back, yes.
How do you feel like it's held us back?
Because back in the day before you were born, if you weren't uptown, connected to the Whitney, you couldn't get a loan. Rich people would just ha for the poor people, ha for the bad education, because we sending our kids to private schools, we sending our kids to Harvard and stuff. We making all the money, we have all the money. We don't care about the poor people, let them suffer. No big deal. They didn't care, and they don't realize that we all in the same boat. And that's why, education was probably the most important thing that we could have ever had and stuff, and we let our education system go to crap in the city of New Orleans. And as a result, what do you have? You have a bunch of people who don't have tools to handle everything. And, people don't realize this, but at one point in time, I think it was New Orleans was the second largest city in the country after New York, and we had so much opportunity, but the French lived in one section, the Americans lived in one section, and everybody looked down on each other. And then the Irish come and they look down on them, and the Italians come down, everybody looks down on them and stuff. And it was just a horrible mess. We're all in the same boat. We should all be going together and stuff. And people should take care of each other. And I know it sounds stupid, but it's not.
I 100% agree with you. So you gonna run for office or what?
No, too old, and I don't have the patience I used to have. I fire at least one client a month. Somebody comes in and aggravates me now and just say, look, this is the deal. I'm a little too old for this. I don't have the patience and stuff. I want to remain friends and stuff. And you need somebody who can give you much more attention than I can give you. And you get 90%, and it's the old rule, and it's absolutely true. 90% of your problems are committed by 10% of your 90% by 10% of your people.
Yeah.
So I try to get rid of most of them as I can. Some of them I fire and they come back and they promise to be good. Most of them are. Because again, at my point in life, I don't need the aggravations.
Yeah. If you were going to run, if you were going to be a politician, what would your platform be?
Wow. Transparency. Then I would admit to the problems we have to the public. I would ask the public for help with solutions. In my office, you will be fired for being a yes man. I don't want you to agree with what I want you to challenge me to say, okay, maybe this, maybe. I don't want a yes man. I think that the politicians, and I know a lot of them, and I be careful what I say because I know a lot of them, but for some reason, they just don't want to truly admit to the problem and stuff and say, okay, we don't have the exact solution. Let's change something. The definition of insanity is what?
Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
And what are we getting right now? Same thing. We need a major change. Everybody needs to come together and say, okay, this is not working. Let's do something different.
What is that something different, you think?
Well, that's a hard thing to say because I don't have enough information. I know one thing. I know a lot of police officers. I had a lot of them are friends of mine. I've been trying to figure out a way so I could figure out a plan that we can hire the guys who retired. Hire them back, let them keep their pension, because you got to understand something. After they've been here 25 years, I think it's 25 years, they get the pension, and their pension, some of these guys, the older guys, they're working for peanuts, because if they take their pension, they make almost the same amount of money. Let them get their pension, hire them back, because they have tons of institutional knowledge, how things work. And the other thing is we can talk about the streets, we can talk about Nord, none of that, to me, makes a difference if we're not safe. So you need to do it. I'm going to ask you a question. How can Jefferson Parish just graduate a class, they're 100% full, and we can't? As a businessman, if you tell me I have to pay another $10,000 a year and we're going to add another 700 policemen, tell me where to write the check.
Yeah.
I write the check in a heartbeat, not a problem and stuff. Because we all want to be safe. I'm 69. I've lived 62 years in the same neighborhood. I love my city. My family came here in the 1730s. I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
I love the city. I've traveled all over the world, and I can truly tell you this is a very unique place. As a general rule, we're very open. We like to eat, drink, have sex, and we don't like to bother everybody else. That's one of the things that makes us have so much fun. But you can't have 800 police officers who are actually on the street when you're supposed to have 1,600. It's a problem.
What they just don't want to. They just don't want to come in. Is it a marketing problem? Is it a?
I think it's a little bit of everything. Again, I'm not smart. I'll put it this way: I'm not smart enough to know all the answers. I'm smart enough. The smartest guy in the room is who? Not the guy who thinks he knows everything. The guy who knows what he knows and knows what he doesn't know. Mm-hmm. When I don't know something, I go hire an expert. So what you do is, if I'm a businessman, I would get a group and say, okay, let's sit down with the stakeholders. What's the real problem? Why aren't we recruiting more people? Why don't we have more people? What's the problem and stuff? Okay, let's figure it out. Is it money? Is it retention? Is the way it's? I know this because my police officer friends tell me the order from the court, the consent decree, is making them do paperwork out the wazoo, and it's taking time, energy, effort, and stuff, and they just hate it because it stops them from being police officers because it's so cumbersome. But whatever the reasons are, you have to have a group that comes together, and people have to be willing to tell the truth, and people have to be willing to face the truth. I would like to be 6 foot tall with hair, but I'm 5'7" and bald. That's the truth.
The hotel, the Hard Rock Hotel, right?
Right.
That they were putting up, and the whole accident. You think that's sort of the mindset here in the city? Like as a collective that we just don't really care that much, or how do you get the buy-in from everybody? Because I feel like everybody's speaking the same thing, right? They want safety, they want change, but then there's how do you get the buy-in from the collective to go, all right, enough is enough. This is what we're doing. How do we do that? Is it the leadership? What's happening?
I think you need. Well, I got to tell you something. And I actually represent 2 people who got hurt in Hard Rock. I've associated another attorney with me on the case and stuff. He has more details about what's going on, but I know the basics. The basics were not just the engineering was faulty and stuff, but the way the inspections were done and everything else was faulty because it was, again, who you know deal. Do you know the inspector? Do you know who do you know? Do you know the engineer? I mean, everybody winking an eye would just get by with it and stuff. Doesn't happen other places.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons that fell. But as far as what you're talking about, is just have enough. I believe that it's getting to that point because, and I don't know, that's a good question, and I have to think about that because who's going to be the one who's going to step up and say, okay, enough is enough. But you got to have the people, the council and the mayor have to be willing to say, and I mean, I know they say there's a problem and stuff, but I mean, to be real honest about the problem and let the people know. People in New Orleans are smart. People in New Orleans, they want to, I mean, the break-ins, a cop buddy of mine told me, he goes, all these break-ins, all these problems, this was probably not 1,500 kids doing all of this in the whole city of New Orleans. He goes, it's a very small, but they keep doing it and they don't get caught. And if they get caught, they get out. Put them behind jail for 60 days and 90 days, pick them all up and find out what happened with the crime rate. And again, one of the things that the murder rate is bad, but if you're not in a certain area, you're not a certain color of your skin, if you're not a certain demographic, the chances of getting shot are slim. Because they just are. Just because, where I live and stuff, I don't think we've ever had murder ever that I can think of. But it affects everybody. And then these break-ins, but the break-ins, that whole mindset of mentality, it's the whole, like you said, the whole picture. Everybody's getting assaulted by crime at some point. So I think everybody, I think the ministers, I think the priest, I think, and mostly the business people. Were you here when Eddie Jordan left? Eddie Jordan was a DA. Eddie Jordan was a DA. He was doing a crappy job. The business people got together and got him to leave. The business people have to get together and do something drastic, and you have to get the mayor to admit that there's a problem.
Yeah.
But those things aren't going to work. And until somebody grab the bull by the horns.
So is that the problem though? So we get that way, right? We're like, we want change, but then we get to the point where we're just like, yeah, but it's not going to change. So
unfortunately, it's the city of New Orleans because the next festival comes along.
And then people forget.
The next holiday comes along. Everybody goes out and gets drunk, has fun, has sex, and then it's another day. I'm telling you, we were very relaxed, laid back. That's why this place is so much fun to live.
Right.
Every weekend. My grandkids are going to the Oktoberfest on Friday. They go into blues and barbecue on Saturday, and then the boat festival on Sunday.
And the Saints game.
And the Saints game.
And and the weather's perfect.
And the weather's perfect and stuff, and people just like New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a great place, and I got to tell you something. I'll never give up. I think it's a pendulum type of deal that's happened. But I can tell you for a fact from the police officer friends of mine, you definitely need another 300 or 400 police officers just to be able to handle the calls.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about. I talked to one of the NOPD people about their marketing and trying to get a whole different attitude about what they do and how they can help and
I got to tell you something. And some people want to say, "Oh, we want to defund." We don't want to defund the police.
No.
We in fact, if most occasions, if there's a police officer in a restaurant with another police officer, I go pick up his check because I thank him for their service because they're doing a hell of a job in a tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the little punk. I call them punk criminals because most of them are just misguided. I mean, and I'm not saying don't put them in jail because if you do the crime, pay the time. I got all of that. The problem I have is, and I know this from my son, whose kids I'm raising, if there's no consequences to an action, they're just going to keep doing the action.
Sure.
That's the problem. Yeah, but I got to tell you, so I saw some of the other questions you had, and you asked me, like, what are my passions, I think you said?
Sure.
Well, one of the passions is my job, is my work, because like I said, it's been 43 years in the making. The other one is my grandchildren. I have an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old, and I've been raising them since they're 5 and 2. That takes up a lot of time and energy, but I have to tell you something. They are just a dream come true. They really are. They're just sweet little girls and stuff, and it's given me a new perspective on life and keeps me young.
Yeah, for sure. I got a 3-year-old, and it's life-changing for sure.
It is.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's being a family guy now compared to like what it was like in my 20s and 30s is just completely different. Yeah, I really love it. You read a lot?
I don't sleep, so I read a lot.
How many books a year you think?
I read about a book every 2 weeks. Don't ask me what I read because I read so many books I can't tell you. I don't sleep. Because you're constantly going. That's part of the problem.
So how the work-life balance? You don't necessarily believe in that?
Oh no, I believe in that. One of the questions, well, would you change? The answer is what I would change is I wouldn't have worked so hard because I still would have been successful and stuff, and I would have done some of the things that I can't do now. Plans. We talked about plans and stuff. So what do I plan? How do I organize? Every quarter, maybe half a year, I go to the library for 2 to 3 hours, and you got to set a time. Leave the phone outside. Go sit in the library so there's no distractions, and I set a time. And I look at my goals from last year, where I'm at, goals for 6 months, a year, 5 years, and 10 years. And I have plans and stuff. And depending upon how specific they are, I adjust them. But you have to think about those things on a regular basis and stuff to get ahead. But one of the things I would have done was I would have gone back and taken more time off to do fun things. Because now, I want to go down the Grand Canyon, but unless I'm, let's sleep in an air-conditioned bed at night, I'm not going down the Grand Canyon. My idea of roughing it, staying at the Ritz. That's kind of where I am with that. My kids, I was trying to go where I was going with this. I was about being organized and stuff, and about making
goal setting.
Plans. Yeah, so my plan was I was going to be retired at 50, and then it was going to be 55, and lo and behold, I go through a couple of wives, and then all of a sudden, my son's now getting out of college and stuff, and I'm free, and all of a sudden I get a telephone call that my son's living in Austin, and the CPS is going to come pick the kids up on Monday. This is on a Friday. I got my car, drove over to Austin on Saturday, picked the kids up on Sunday, came back. So the best laid plans of mice and men doesn't work and stuff. So I plan, but I realize that most plans don't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, just so that, instead of being retired, I do travel a lot, and I do have a nanny, and I have the wherewithal to be able to do a lot of things that I want to do. And if you ever get put in my position, you understand these grandmas who are raising kids, how spectacular they are to be doing this.
Yeah.
Because it's not the easiest thing in the world. I'm 69 dealing with a 14-year-old little girl. That's like almost hell. I love her, but geez. Thank God my wife has got the patience of a saint.
So, but nowadays you figured out how to, I work, I take time off. I spend time with, family.
We have a house in Mississippi. We go to almost every weekend. Well, I would say 3 weekends out the month. But I make a real concerted effort to spend time with the kids. Our schedule, again, being a little OCD, we eat dinner together every single night, talk about their day, and then they get ready and stuff, and then we watch a TV program from like 7 to 8 at night together, whatever they want to watch, it doesn't matter, just as long as we're all in the same room. We go on vacations together. I'm taking them snow skiing this February. I have a guest house in Mississippi with the house, so they get to bring their friends and they stay in the guest house.
That's nice.
I think they're big deal, so it's good. So we spend a lot of time with them.
That's cool. Let me ask you this. You guys help with personal injury,
Yes.
right? How do you deal with the people that have like that huge trauma, right? And are you guys helping in the rehabilitation of the person too?
Oh, yeah. If you mean physically or mentally?
Mentally.
I want to say two types of accidents. There's more types of accidents, but there's two types of injuries. One is what I want to call soft tissue, not super major. You go to the doctor 2, 3, 4, 5 months and stuff. It's a whiplash type of injury and stuff. And most of the time, as long as you get your people's property damage taken care of and get them to a good doctor, they'll get through those. Then you have the people who have the traumatic injuries and stuff, and those are extremely difficult. I've never met a client that I've gotten a lot of money for that would say, I'd go back and do this all over again the same way. Not one of them. Every one of them, when you're talking about $500,000, $600,000, $1 million, $2 million, they'll tell you, I would go back in an instant, give up all the money I got to be back to where I was. So it really is. People don't understand how traumatic. And then, and again, one of the things that I have in my favor is I do have a lot of empathy. So I spend a lot of time, with those clients and stuff, making sure that they're handled, making sure they're comfortable. They like their doctor, they get attention. Lawyers who handle the bigger cases have much fewer cases, so they can spend more time with the client. And we have psychologists that we talk to, we have the clients can talk to. Mostly it's about if you get them the proper medical care, and again, communication. This is where we are, this is where we're going, and this is where we hope to end up, and you keep them informed. They're okay.
Right.
People need something to hold on to. So if I say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to file suit here, then we have to do discovery, then we take depositions, then we're going to get cutoff dates from the court, and we're going to have a trial date. Now, 98% of the cases that we get, we settle. One of the reasons I like to think is that we're good attorneys and that we prepare our cases and stuff, and they know that we're willing to go to court. And if we go to court, we do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
We use mediation a lot, which is a process where everybody shows up and there's a mediator. And you sit down and everybody gives their side of the story and you try to mediate those cases and get those things wrapped up. But I think the biggest thing is keeping them informed, is so there's light at the end of the tunnel. Because if you see light at the end of the tunnel, there's hope. What is the greatest thing in the world is hope. I asked a friend of mine who had serious depression one time, I said, I don't know what that's like. I said, what is it like? Can you describe it to me? Can you not see the light at the end of the tunnel? He says, Chip, I can't see the tunnel. And I'm sitting going like, whoa, didn't think of that. So if you can get them to see the light at the end of the tunnel and explain to them stuff, most people will work towards it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just...
When I've seen I don't know if I've seen all of your advertisements on TV, but you've gone all in on the music end of things. How did you come up with that idea?
That's a great story. So there was a young lady by the name of Leslie who was helping with my advertising at the beginning, and she came up with this jingle. And there's a lady named Mona Lisa who actually got the jingle together from somebody that she knows. And they came to me and they said, this is something, blah, blah, blah. At the time, I'm like, nobody was on TV with anything close to that. And she says, well, do you want to buy the jingle or rent it? Well, I don't like to rent anything. I always like to buy. Mm-hmm. So I bought the jingle. And there was a lady named Marva Wright, who's passed away now, and she was a client of mine, and she said, well, I can do the commercial for you. So she did the commercial. It made a little bit of a hit. It did well. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, man, this is a good idea, because I'm trying to stand out. You got to stand out. You have to stand out. There's so much. You can go look at. I had somebody do the survey on any given morning on any given station stuff. They could have 5 commercials within 3 minutes or something. Okay, lawyer commercials. So you have to stand out. Morris Bart, he's been around longer than anybody. He spends the most money on commercials and stuff. He's everywhere, the billboards and stuff. So he's got that going. Dudley DeBosian, those guys and stuff's got some really nice commercials. And again, they're spending a lot of money. So people are trying to stand out. But back then, for me to stand out was the music commercial. Then what happened was I got musicians that I liked, like the Top Cats and Irma Thomas, who I had represented her husband, and those were good commercials. But then what happened was I went to Gambit's Music Awards ceremony or something, and there was a couple of people there that I'm like, man, these people are great. I came up with the idea, let's promote young talent people don't know. And you give them the opportunity to get exposure, so they win. I win because it's different and new. Everybody wins. So I like those scenarios. I would tell the defense lawyers and stuff. I said, look, fellas, you win, I win. I said, because without me, you don't have any work to do. I got to sue people for you to work. So we started the commercial. We started getting younger talent. And Mashia Lake, she's a lady with all the tattoos, incredible talent. So we did a commercial with her, and I just loved her. And the first time we used it was this Thursday after the next season after the Saints won the Super Bowl. It was a Thursday night game. I think we played Baltimore. And the commercial was on TV. She called me up on Monday and said, Chip, you're not going to believe this. I was in Dollar General and people knew who I was from that one commercial. That's how the exposure is incredible. So as a result, what we do is we have most of the talent now is people that sing in the wall. And we got so much talent, you have no idea.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, my God. It is scary, the people that we have here. I got a 74-year-old rapper who wanted to send me they send me in demos and stuff. So I get a lot of those. Some of them are funny as hell. So anyway, we try to produce young talent, help young talent, people who get exposure so everybody wins. And it's different. The story I tell is that one day my mother's friend, Miss Betty, calls me up and says, Chip, I just saw your commercial. I can't stand it. I said, Miss Betty, what are you talking about? I said, you've known me all my life. She says, Chip, I can't stand it. She goes, I can't get the damn song out of my head. And I said, Miss Betty, it works. Yeah, I guess so, but I can't get the damn thing out of my head. So, it works.
Yeah, my dad is in one of your commercials, the Latin band that you did, the Latin. Yeah. That was really good.
Oh, no.
It was fantastic. I was like, wow.
Yeah, the production's usually pretty good and stuff, and it's fun to do, and it is. It's really neat, man.
Yeah.
I get a real good vibe from everybody. People love them.
Yeah.
They're easy to watch.
Absolutely memorable.
Right.
Easy to watch. Yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, Chip Forstall for sure. Yeah. Like it's totally memorable, and you definitely stand out, which is great. I'm very glad that you're on the show. Tell them where actually this camera right there. You can tell them where they can find you.
All over. No, just kidding. I'm located at 320 North Carrollton Avenue, but just give me a call, 504-483-3400, 504-483-3400. You can go to, I'm all over the place. Like I said, I YouTubed, somebody wanted to see my commercials. I YouTube Chip Forstall commercial. If a commercial comes up, I have billboards. You can look at the billboards. You can stop by. I tell people stop by. If it's hot outside, you want a bottle of water, come on by and see me and stuff. We like to meet new people. That's what the business is all about. It's just meeting new people, talking to people, being happy, and just helping people. So if you need some help, give us a call.
Awesome. Chip, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you guys for another episode of Spaghetti on the Wall, brought to you by LeDuc Entertainment. For all of your digital marketing needs, social media, videos, the whole nine, we got you. And you can watch Spaghetti on the Wall on YouTube and anywhere you can find a podcast. And we'll see y'all next week.
All right.